Okay guys, we're doing the floor pan replacement in this 1970 convertible. I've watched a lot of videos on floor pan replacement, and everyone takes the body off and welds the pans in. A few guys I've seen have done some measurements, but the reality is you're never going to get everything to line up properly unless you put the body back on and put some bolts around the perimeter. That way you can make sure everything lines up before you start welding it together. Now I'm using a cherry picker to pick this body up with some basically just motorcycle tie downs. I'm in the seatbelt holes there and kind of in the heater channel on the fronts. But I want to show you this bolt right here. This one is quite a ways back. You can just see the edge of the bolt through that hole. So those two, if I had welded this support right there, would have never ever lined up. So I can get in there and pull that into position. Same thing over here on this side. If you look at that hole, see the bolt in there, or bolt hole in there, would not have lined up. Also see a lot of guys welding to the tunnel. I don't like that idea, so I've drilled holes all along the new pan, and I'll puddle weld those in, which will be a lot more factory appearance and a lot cleaner look. You also might notice the copperish colored primer on there. I've done that on both sides, and it's called a weld through primer by U-Pull. This is it. It's a copper rich primer which is still conductive, so you can get a primer in between the seams of those two layers of metal and still weld through it. So we'll keep you updated. Thanks. Okay guys, this is part 2. I've got the body now sitting totally on the pan, no bolts in at all, but I'm trying to line bolt holes up. And again, this is why you don't want to put the pans in without the body in place, at least to get them tacked in place so they won't move around on you until you finish welding. It's first trying to get these holes to line up right here, and we're super close now, much better than we were in the last video. I just can use an awl, line those up. This one's almost there, but this is a factory bolt hole that wouldn't change with the pan, so that one I was having trouble lining up. So what I did is I put a clamp, a bar clamp, grabbing the torsion housing end cap and pulling against the body a little bit. It didn't take much pressure at all to get that where I needed it to be. You can see our alignment here on the front end. Body's just a little bit back, but that's perfectly within factory specs. And again, on this side I did the same with another clamp to get this hole to line up. That's a factory hole. Now it's just a matter of getting this bolt, which this bolt would go in. This one's very close. That's going to be a function of getting underneath and taking this entire triangle that's welded in and part of the pan replacement, get behind this and pull it forward before I do any welding on this seam here. Again, the body's just sitting, hovering. I'm also going to go underneath and put some of the bolts that run up from underneath all along the underside of the heater channel. Okay, a little update. Could not get these pans to fit and line up with the holes correctly. This one is still in place where I was checking the holes. I removed the passenger side, and basically all the holes look like they are the right measurements, but what has happened is this gusset bracket that's on the bottom side, you can actually see the alignment on that hole. This gusset needs to slide forward about 3/8 of an inch. So I'm in the process of cutting all the welds loose right now, and I'm going to move that into the correct position. But it's spot welded as well as wire welded, and I got these. This is a spot weld removal tool. You can buy it Harbor Freight, pretty cheap. So I picked up a couple of them. I'm going to need those anyway when I do the reinforcement rail on the bottom of the car. You can see the jack and the blocks holding that reinforcement rail up. This should have been a dead giveaway. The alignment on that hole is horrible. The other one's the same way, but basically I'm going to tighten this gap up by sliding. I've cut all the welds loose. Just slide this entire bracket that way, and then all the rest of the holes are going to line up great. I'm going to have to clearance this bracket out a little bit. You can see where it was sitting. It does impact right there, so I'll have to carve that section out a little bit or mend it to allow it to move forward that 3/8 of an inch. Okay, I modified the bracket, which enabled the pans to shift back the 1/4 inch that I needed. I've now got bolts in. I've got a under the seat body bolt is in just to kind of locate. And then these are into the new pan. I haven't welded anything yet. It's all just bolted, but I'm getting ready to start welding in. But I do want to show you that I've got some body bolts in underneath. And this will help hold things in place until I get things welded in. Again, the body's going to come back off. I need to replace this support rails on both sides, but this gets everything lined up to where it should be for factory before I begin welding.